Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode number 32, I believe, of the TEW 2016 Challenge Run. We are booking Monday Night Raw, Week 3, May 2019. Without any further ado, let's just jump straight into it. We start with Stephanie McMahon coming. Well, she's not coming to the ring, she's already in the ring as the show starts. And she is here to introduce the new Raw general manager, and she says it's a great honour for her to be here tonight to introduce, because she stood in this ring 4 years ago and brought up Becky Lynch, Sasha Banks, Charlotte Flair, and started the women's evolution. And it's now to a point where we see women main eventing WrestleMania, we see women all over the show, so it's about time we got a woman once again in power here on Monday Night Raw. One of the very women who helped revolutionise WWE. The new Raw General Manager is Miss Nikki Bella. I know. Boo. But the thing is with Nikki, she is like an important name to keep around on your show, because she has that reality show crossover appeal. She is one of the bigger names on the roster, and I don't really want her wrestling, so I guess sticking her in this role is the best thing I had for her. I didn't want to be a manager either, so she's here, she's a GM, and she thanks Stephanie for the wonderful opportunity to be the general manager of Raw, that she now runs Raw, and everybody back there needs to get in line and listen to her and her orderings. And then she's interrupted by the Undisputed Era. Adam Cole comes out with a mic and he's like, "Nikki, welcome to Raw. I guess you're my boss now," he'd say. But he says, "Let's make one thing very clear. You don't run Raw. We run Raw." And that's undisputed. Because you're sitting here now as the general manager, unable to book one of your biggest stars, that being AJ Styles, because he's still recovering from the beatdown that Adam, Kyle, Bobby, and Roddy put on him at the pay-per-view. So it's actually Nikki who's got to fall in line with what Adam Cole and the Undisputed Era want. Otherwise, it's not going to be a good time for her in power here on Raw. That's when Nikki says, you need to spend your time less worrying about me being your boss and more on this big ladder match you've got coming up in 2 weeks' time. And since you beat Mustafa Ali last week, my first act as Raw General Manager was going to be to put you in action against the other member of my Night Raw roster who is in that ladder match, Elias. And that match is right now. And Elias actually defeats Adam Cole after a distraction from Dragon Aisu. So Adam Cole, he could defeat Mustafa Ali last week, but this week he's come up short against Elias after being caught off guard by new general manager Nikki Bella. Charlie Caruso is backstage with Ruby Riott and Sarah Logan. Ruby tells her that after her win over Becky last week that she has earned a shot at the Raw Women's Championship at Money in the Bank. And that later on tonight, Sarah herself has a match with the Raw Women's Champion Becky Lynch. And Ruby tells Sarah, like, remember what we talked about. You've got to listen to me, you got to listen to what I say. Do as I do as I say, and you'll come out on top of Becky. And then maybe if you do come on top of Becky, you get the first shot at me when I beat Becky at Money in the Bank, and we can have a match for the championship. Sarah's all focused because she let Ruby down 2 weeks ago, and she wants to make amends with her good friend. We then get American Alpha in a rematch from the pay-per-view kickoff show, beating Alexander Wolf and Killian Dane yet again, and they pin Wolf with the Grand Amplitude, which leads to following segment, Killian Dane angry at Alexander Wolf yet again coming up short, comes into the ring with a steel chair and sort of screams, you let her down. You need to back your ideas up, and basically issues that Wolf stands there and takes abuse from Killian Dane with the steel chair for coming up short yet again, and Wolf reluctantly agrees because he feels he has been letting the side down with all the defeats he's been taking. So Dane hammers away on Alexander Wolf with a steel chair, and obviously this is to gain sympathy on Wolf. He's now going to sort of do the forced heel shtick for a bit, as we see where this leads. We get the Usos cutting a generic promo on the Revival, talking about Revival call themselves the best tag team in the world because they're clinging on to glory that they had in NXT 3 years ago. Well, Us, me and my Us have been locking down this, have had this division on lockdown for over a decade, and you think one flash in the pan tag team like the Revival can come up and think they can take our top spot? That's not going to fly. And at Money in the Bank, the two top tag teams on Monday Night Raw are going to duke it out to see who comes out on top for the Raw Tag Team Championships. Now, the Usos, that leads into a match they have with the Ascension, which they just win quickly. All these negatives for the Ascension. We then get Shoe in the Breeze segment with Tyler Breeze, Aaliyah, and Don Araconi. His guest this week is Samoa Joe, who comes out, takes a seat on Breeze's furry pink couch, looking just completely uncomfortable and on edge at all times. And Breeze asks him, hey, why did you help me? And why did you help us defeat Johnny Gargano, Sasha and Bayley last week? And Breeze says, you don't need to answer that, I know why. You've seen my incredible skills and you want to form a tag team with me, don't you, Joe? You want to be Beauty and the Beast. And Joe just shoots him this stern-faced look, just like, shut up. And then Joe would take the mic and he'd explain, I attacked Johnny Gargano for a reason. 2 weeks ago, it was myself, Johnny, and Ali in that triple threat match to determine who got him Money in the Bank. And Johnny Gargano's ineptitude got him pinned by Mustafa Ali, allowing Ali to get into that match. And Joe, he's like, I can't stand Mustafa Ali, and the fact that Gargano was weak enough to take a loss to him to give him this opportunity in Money in the Bank, that rubbed me the wrong way. And Joe's like, normally you come out and attack the champion if you want to get the champ's notice. Well, Johnny got my notice instead. So he'll be the lucky little boy at Money in the Bank. I'm going to offer him up an opportunity at the United States Championship. That's when Gargano would come out himself and he'd be like, Joe, you've got to get over yourself. If you were good enough to beat Ali in that triple threat match, you'd have won it and you'd have been in Money in the Bank instead of him. But here we are, both sat here not in Money in the Bank, because it's not because of me, it's because Ali was the better man on that night. And then Breeze would chime in from off camera and be like, well, Johnny, you do have this reputation of being a loser around here. Maybe you're just too scared to get in Money in the Bank because you know you'd choke yet again. And then Johnny's like, he's had enough of this. He said, you proposed this little tag team earlier on to Joe. I know he didn't seem too keen, but how about we do that? How about in the main event tonight, you do team with Samoa Joe, and I'll go back there, I'll find my good friend Mustafa Ali, and we'll have ourselves a tag team match. And then Gargano would leave, and Joe and Breeze would share this awkward look at each other, knowing Joe would have to reluctantly team with this guy who's not really his type. We then get Bianca Belair and Naomi, following on from Naomi and Sonya from last week. And the Bianca scores the win with the KOD over Naomi. Not much else to it. I'm sure we'll get Sonya and Bianca next week because that's really unoriginal booking. We then get interview with Shinsuke Nakamura and Charlie Caruso. Charlie explains to him how he feels after he defeated Bray Wyatt last week and how he's ready to move on, when Bo Dallas walks into frame and says that maybe Bray, he sees the good in Bray. He knows that despite Bray being this horrible man that Shinsuke brought up last week, he can see that his brother has changed and that Shinsuke was out of order, attacking him and calling him out for all of his wrongdoings that Bray has put behind himself last week, and that the real enemy is still Shinsuke Nakamura. And then Shinsuke's like, well, why don't we have a fight? Which they do have, and Shinsuke wins. Then after the match, Shinsuke would continue to assault Bo Dallas and then give him a low blow, maybe bring a steel chair in, line him up for the Kinshasa when the lights would go off. And when they come back on, Bray Wyatt is there. And him and Shinsuke would share this exchange. And then Bray would turn his attention to Bo, who's now getting back to his feet. And he would put his hand on Bo Dallas's head and whisper in his ear. Shinsuke just sort of looks on, really confused, because he thought him and Bray were coming out to have a fight. But he sort of just watches on, leaves the ring, because Bray Wyatt apparently has brought his attention to Bo Dallas. And then the lights go out and they come back on. Bray and Bo are gone. Nikki Bella's in her office with Drake Maverick, and then Drake Maverick and EC3 and Mojo Rawley come in. Drake says that after last week, Seth Rollins, it was put on notice that his Universal Championship reign was going to be in serious jeopardy, and it's on its last legs because at Money in the Bank, EC3 is going to take the championship from him. But why should Ethan get all the glory, he says. And he asks the new general manager, Nikki Bella, to make a match between Universal Champion Seth Rollins and his other member of the mansion, Mojo Rawley. And Nikki's like, sure, why not? Let's give Mojo... I want to try and make sure I can get a whole scat of my entire roster. I can see what everybody's capable of. We'll give Mojo a chance to shine against the Universal Champion up next. Well, not up next, but later on tonight. Street Profits get a win over Cutler and Blake who've been called up for one night on developmental because they couldn't be bothered to do higher local. And yeah, and it gets them exposure, I guess. Street Profits get another win as they continue to rack up momentum. Zack Ryder, Kyle Hawkins is sat in his locker room looking all upset when Zack Ryder walks in. He's like, "What's up, bro?" And Hawkins, he explains, he's like, I hadn't won a single match for what was nearly 3 years. It was nearly 300 match losing streak, and I told myself to get better. And when I broke this streak, it was going to be the start of bigger things for me. But what happened? We got together, and like planned, we did end my undefeated streak, but we ended up losing to the Revival and just sort of floundering. And that's not what I had in mind for my post-streak career. And Zack Ryder's like, "It's okay, bro. We'll turn it around, bro. If you can get you a win out of after all that loss, there's pretty much nothing we can't do." AE2B, Becky Lynch versus Sarah Logan, ends with Becky beating Sarah Logan clean with a disarmer. Not much else to it. Sarah would have got a couple of good hits in. Nice open bout, but need to give Becky a rebound win after she lost to Ruby Riott last week. And Sarah has come up short. Then after the match, Sarah Logan and Ruby Riott, Ruby would come out and she would like get angry at Sarah, being like, oh, what have you done, blah blah blah, you're a loser. But then they do the swerve, the double turnaround spot, and they both lay Becky out. And then Ruby would hit the Riott kick and pose with the Raw Women's Championship, because that's the match for Money in the Bank. Another 82B with the champion against lower opposition. Seth Rollins beats Mojo Rawley. Mojo again puts up a good fight. It's a good showcase for Mojo. He gets a couple of good power spots in because Rollins can definitely sell for him. So we try and showcase a bit of what Mojo Rawley's capable of, but he's not really ready to beat Seth Rollins. And since he's not the primary lead member of the faction, I'm okay with him taking the loss in his first match. Then, just like the last segment, Drake Maverick orders EC3 to jump in the ring as soon as Seth Rollins gets the 3 count. Jumps on him, beats him up. Mojo Rawley gets up, also beats him up. Maverick ordering traffic. EC3 would lay Rollins out with the 1%er. And we wouldn't do the pose of the championship spot because we just did that in the last segment. Main event. Oh, we're changing it up. We get an 83B instead of an 82. It is the team of Mustafa Ali and Johnny Gargano defeating Tyler Breeze and Samoa Joe when Ali gets the pinfall over Breeze with the 054. So the good, wholesome babyface tag team of Mustafa Ali and Johnny Gargano getting the win to send the fans home happy on overall what I thought was a very good episode of Monday Night Raw. The game seems to agree with me, giving it an 87B+. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And I'll see you next time for SmackDown Live.